I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Mark Nelson, Aaron Mason on the front row. Mark Dantuma, Troy Downing on the second row. Gerald Thanos Poole and Rick Sargent on the third. Donald Double D Durance and Blake Lawrence on the fourth. The Iceman and Gourmets round out the field. Hey, good evening to Thomas. Thank you so much for the bits. Good evening, Kirk. Drivers begin to roll off pit road, or off the grid. .66 miles. Hey, good evening, Trans Am. .66 miles, high bank turns here at Talladega. They will stay in a pack most of the race. Oh, hey, Kevin. Good question from Kirk Marble. When will the big one hit? Would love to hear your predictions in the comments. They only have one fast repair here tonight, so the drivers have to be careful. Here they come out of 3 and 4. Pace car is in. Kirk Marble predicting the big one at lap 35. Time will tell. Remember, Talladega start finish line almost at turn 1. They are in the zone. Green flag is in the air. Drivers are down and away into turn 1. Big push from Gerald Poole, and Mark Nelson quickly goes to the front. Aaron Mason slides into third. Gerald already shooting to the high side. We saw in practice trying to pass as a single car has been a struggle. Kevin predicts lap 2 for the big one. Blake Lawrence in his first time at Talladega off the back, out of the draft already. Gourmets back in the pack, currently sitting in 9th. Don't expect him to stay back there long. Don't forget, folks, come back tonight, 9:30 Eastern, SMR Gen 4. I do not remember where all 30 drivers are going, but I'm sure it's gonna be good. Gerald Poole was battling for the lead a few laps ago, has dropped back to 8th. Looks like he and Gourmets going to hook up at the back. Mark Dantuma now in 4th, has the fastest lap so far, but no surprise, the Iceman in 3rd. DJ Kenner already up 6 spots. But Mark Nelson still out front. Comp caution tonight, lap number 27. They will be able to go the distance on fuel to the comp caution. After that, looking at 30 to 35 laps on a tank of fuel. The field quickly goes to single file. Likely see a lot of these drivers riding here early. No sense in putting your car in danger this early in the race. As we mentioned, Mark Nelson comes into tonight leading the playoffs by 12 points over second place, Aaron Mason in the 75, and they run first and second on track at the moment. Looking at some of the numbers here tonight. The two marks combined for 8 wins so far this season. Mark Nelson with 4, Mark Dantuma with 4 as well. But Mark Nelson has had a much more consistent season with 13 top 5s compared to Mark Dantuma, 9 top 5s. Dantuma starting to make some moves. Yeah, Kevin, the funny thing about it, we spent almost an hour working with our internet provider today. Thought we had it resolved. Aaron Mason goes to the middle and goes backwards as Rick Sargent leads the high line to the lead. With the push from Gourmets now to second place, that outside line starting to make some moves. The entire 4-car outside line is already going to the front. Mark Nelson slips back into 5th. Rick Sargent, David Gorman, and Double D now the top 3. Looks like Mark Nelson now trying to move back to the front on the high line. Double D shoots up to take control. DJ Kenner and Troy Downing also in that high line. Mark Dantuma back behind, has to be careful. He may end up losing the draft. Dantuma able to pull back up into the lead pack for the moment. Double D goes to the lead for the first time tonight. Gerald Poole now has the fastest lap on track. Rick Sargent on the bottom, still holding even with Durant for the moment. That bottom line finding some momentum yet again, pulling back ahead. Rick starting to pull away just a hair. And Aaron Mason sticks the nose out front, going for the lead for the first time. He can't get down to the bottom though. Rick pulls back even. Gerald Poole slides back into fourth place. Gerald's starting to make some moves, and the Iceman starting to come back as well. And the Iceman drops back to the back with Aaron Mason and Donald Durant. Meanwhile, Rick Sargent and Gourmet up at the front. Now Gerald to third. Mark Dantuma sliding up to the high line. Mark Nelson just below. Now Nelson's going to shoot to the high line right in front of Thanos. Off turn 2, that high line definitely has a momentum advantage down the back straightaway. Nelson trying to take advantage. Blake Lawrence, the lap car, just ahead. Nelson leads it at the line, but man, it was close. Gerald Poole now goes to the high side. Mark looked low. Rick shut the door. Mark goes backwards. Mark went all the way back. Rick Surgeon now in the lead. Blake goes to the high side. The rest of the field slides by. Blake's first run at Talladega definitely turning out to be a learning experience. Gerald Poole now leading that high line. We've talked about it before. He has not in recent months had any luck on super speedways, but Gerald has a history of getting it done in the draft. Troy Downing now up into the fight as well. That high line starting to make some moves. Gerald to the lead. Gerald trying to decide which line to go with. He's going to stay up high. Rick gets a run. And Gerald will lead for the first time here tonight. All the drivers in the playoffs trying to get any bonus points they can here tonight with just a few races left to go. Three races left to go in the season after tonight. Next week we will be at Charlotte, followed by Martinsville, and the season finale at Homestead. Rick Surgeon back to the lead. Gerald not pushing as hard now. He has led a lap. About 7 laps from the competition caution. David Gorman up in the fight. He is not in the playoffs. He is out here just to get a win. And a big push to Gerald from Mark Nelson. That outside line once again shoots ahead. Oh, Dan Tuma a little squirrely. That top three at the moment pulling out front. They're staying on the high line though. Troy Downing now up into third. Rick Sargent getting the push from Garmin, trying to fight back on the bottom. Aaron Mason currently sits third in line on the bottom. Points leader Mark Nelson in second place. Aaron's got to make up a lot of ground here tonight to have any shot at the championship at Homestead. Mark Nelson currently running for 2 championships, battling for the BRR Championship, and on Thursday night he will continue his championship charge in home motorsports. Mark has a substantial lead after last week's race, may have locked up that championship fight. Mark Dantuma dropped to the bottom and now leads the bottom line. The top 3 at the moment choose to stay up high. Aaron Mason has jumped to the high side, now pulling back up. DJ Kenner, Donald Durant sitting at the back playing it safe for the moment, but it does look like DJ is starting to close back up on that high line. Now Mason goes to the bottom. Gerald Poole back to the lead. Continues to lead here tonight. But DJ Kenner back in the fight, back up into 4th place. Aaron Mason tries to lead that bottom line back toward the front. But Mark Nelson up there pushing Gerald. They just continue to check out. Hey, good evening, Sketch. Sketch the Mark Nelson in 2nd place. And we should see the competition caution right now. So far, a clean race. Everybody nose to tail, inches apart. Gerald Thanos Poole so far has led the most laps. Mark Nelson in second, Troy Downing in third, Aaron Mason in fourth, Mark Dantuma in fifth, DJ Kenner, David Garman, Donald Durant, Rick Surgeon round out the lead lap cars. Blake Lawrence in 10th. Blake will get waved back to the lead lap here. We should see all the drivers in, likely most of them going to take 4 tires on this stop. Unlikely to see any tire changes after that. And here they come down pit road. Gerald Poole will lead them in. Looks like several drivers taking 4 tires here. Blake Lawrence on his way back. Gerald Poole gets off pit road first. Mark Nelson came out in second. Aaron Mason now in third. Troy Downing, Mark Dantuma, your top 5. DJ Kenner, David Garman, Rick Surgeon, Donald Durant round out the lead lap cars. Blake Lawrence back to the lead lap. He is on pit road. Should get 1 to green next time by. No, did they turn the lights out? Lights are out. They will stack back up for the restart. And since we've been green flagged so far tonight, Let's have a little bit of fun on the restart and get a little bit loud at Talladega. When the green flag drops, I'm going to stop talking. You guys crank up the volume and listen to all that horsepower. Here they come through 3 and 4. Remember, the start-finish line is not in the center of the tri-oval where you expect it. It is all the way down by the entrance to turn 1. So the pace car will pull in. Then they will have to hold at 65 miles an hour till they hit the restart zone. Gerald Poole will be in control of the restart. Here we go, into the zone. Green flag back in the air. Crank it up, everybody. That is just too much fun as all the drivers hit max speed down the back straightaway. Gerald Poole still leading on the high side, but Mark Nelson right beside him. Troy Downing, Aaron Mason side by side right behind, but that outside line building momentum once again. Mark Nelson has that bottom line, pulling out with the push from Aaron Mason. Mark Dantuma now sitting in third. David Gorman in fourth. Gerald Poole slides down to the bottom in fifth. They go single file for the moment. Rick Sargent at the tail end. Blake Lawrence has fallen out of the draft. Remember, this is his first time running at Talladega. Most of the field going single file for the moment, knowing they've got about 45 laps to go. One more pit stop as well. Pit strategy will be huge. The drivers will have to have help coming to pit road, help getting back up to speed. If they come in alone, that is catastrophic without any drafting help off of pit road. David Garman currently sits in fourth place, the biggest mover so far of the night, up 6 spots into fourth. Rick Surgeon has got together with Double D. They are on the move. Dan Tumo's moved up to the high side with Gourmet. And it is now Mark versus Mark at the front. Nelson on the bottom, Dan Tuma on the high side. And Dan Tuma, with help from Garmin, pulls ahead. Rick Surgeon is caught up, bringing Double D and the Iceman DJ Kenner with him. That outside line still seems to be the fastest. Mark Dantuma leading it at the moment with the push from Gourmet. Most of the drivers just playing a waiting game at the moment, making sure they survive to fight when it counts. Seems when that outside line has a good pusher behind the leader of the line, they seem to be able to check out. Gourmet staying a little bit back off Dantuma, making sure the engine does not overheat at the moment, but expect him right up on the bumper before it's all said and done. Nelson on the bottom, pulling a little bit closer, but right now it is side by side. Remember, most of these drivers will go to pit road. Around lap 58. Sketch 670 horsepower is what these cars produce. Rick Sargent now leads the bottom line as the top line continues to be the dominant place to be. Mark D'Antuma still leading that outside line. Doing some quick math here, some of the drivers could actually pit in 2 laps. The pit window will open up in about 2 laps. Some of them will be able to go the distance on fuel from there. Mark Nelson bump drafting Rick down the back straightaway, trying to get that bottom line back ahead. Kevin, you're absolutely right. They definitely do need friends to go to pit road. And everybody should be within their pit window now. Mark D'Antuma and David Gourmets have been able to pull that outside line once again, about 3 car lengths ahead. Now 4 car lengths ahead. Troy Downing looked like he was going to move to the bottom. But Rick Sargent has shut the door on that idea. At the back, they're going 3 wide. Looks like Double D trying to make a move toward the front. Rick Sargent, Mark Nelson lost all their help. They have dropped to the tail. Dantuma gonna stay up there in that middle groove. They are catching back up to Blake Lawrence. Blake Lawrence goes to the high side. The leaders all come by. No problems with lap traffic, but Aaron Mason went to the bottom alone, trying to use the side draft to make his way to the front. Looks like Mark Nelson coming to give him a hand. Mark Nelson now moves back up. Aaron Mason alone on the bottom. And Dantuma leading the pack around. We could see pit stops at any point in time. Most of these drivers will be fuel only on their stops. A few might take 2 tires. The lead pack, 9 cars strong, single file for the moment. Points leader, Mark Nelson back in 7th. Second in points, Aaron Mason right behind in 8th. Zoom is definitely correct. Less than 30 laps to go now. Everybody in their fuel window. Aaron Mason makes a move way up high. Thought he had a run, but looks like Rick Sargent drops low with Nelson. Rick comes back up. Nelson slides. No, Rick's going to go it alone on the bottom. Aaron Mason makes a move to the high side. Gerald Poole moves back into the top 5, closes the gap on Downing. Aaron Mason back to the high side. Aaron slides up into 5th. Looks like Mason just trying to pick up the draft, get the momentum, and slingshot by one at a time. Mark Dantuma, after the race last week, dropped back to 6th in points, lost a lot of ground. A win here tonight could be huge. Aaron Mason now side by side with Troy Downing, but Downing in line with the Iceman, may be able to hold him off. Gerald Poole cozying up on the back bumper of Downing. Mark Nelson closes up on the back bumper of Aaron and moves Aaron up into 4th. Nelson all alone now, waiting for Rick Surgeon to pull up. Whoa, Troy Downing almost gets together with Rick there. They both save it. And Gerald Poole lurking right behind. As Kevin pointed out, Mark Dantuma is using the most fuel, being at the front. And that is not where you want to be with 2 laps to go. But for the moment, he is safe. He can go to pit road anytime. And Troy Downing suddenly drops to the back. He may be looking for somebody to pit with. Close call there with Double D. Hope you had a good time, Sketch. Double D just dropped to the bottom. Got a big run, came past Troy. But it did not have enough momentum, did not get enough of a side draft, and fell back to the tail end. Now Durant moves up to the high side. He is picking up some ground. Goes by Gerald Poole already to the back bumper of the Mark Nelson. DJ Kenner in 3rd, trying to close back up on David Garman. He is back there. Aaron Mason looks like a lot of battling, getting close to pit stops. Aaron Mason gets past the Iceman and takes 3rd. And it looks like Blake Lawrence has brought it in and parked it. Kevin, I have to agree, it does look like the drivers are pairing up, finding who they want to be with, and getting ready for that stop. You definitely do not want to make the stop with less than 10 to go here at Talladega. I would expect the majority of the field to be in the next 2 to 3 laps. DJ Kenner looks back underneath Aaron Mason for third. Everybody continuing to stay out. DJ gets a bit of a push from Mark Nelson. The Iceman back to third. Blake Lawrence has come back off pit road. He is on his way back out. And here they come. Dantuma leads them into pit road. And it's going to be everybody. The entire field comes in with 20 laps to go. Dantuma hits his stall. Will it be fuel only? Will we see anybody taking tires? Troy is up for tires. Aaron Mason took right sides. Mark Nelson is away. DJ comes out in second, Dantuma in third, Aaron in fourth, Gerald in fifth. Will this split the field? Will they stay split up this time? The top three broke away. Gerald Poole back in fourth, about 2 seconds back with Aaron Mason. Troy Downing closing up on him as well. Gourmets back in seventh, Rick Surgeon in eighth, Donald Durant's in ninth. None of those last three have any drafting help. Mark Nelson, DJ Kenner, and Mark Dantuma out front. Gerald Poole, Aaron Mason, Troy Downing about 2 seconds back at the moment. Garmin all alone in seventh, Surgeon in eighth. Now as Double D, they will close back up on Garmin. Will they do it quickly enough to get connected and make up the difference. Durant and Sargent side by side. Durant finally pulls ahead. That definitely slowed the two of them down, though. Gerald Poole leading that second pack. They now have the lap car, Blake Lawrence, in the pack, making that four-car group the biggest pack on track, but Blake having problems in the draft. He is not going to be a ton of help, but that little bit they get from him may be enough as they are closing in on the leaders. They are now just 1.7 seconds behind the top three. Mark Nelson, the points leader, out front with DJ Kenner and Mark Dantuma. They are in trouble. Thanos is getting closer. Now just 1.3 seconds back. Hey, good evening, Kevin. And Thanos has pulled back up the lead pack, now 6 cars deep. Mark Nelson, Mark Dantuma, Gerald Poole, Aaron Mason, Troy Downing, DJ Kenner all together, Donald Durant, Rick Surgeon, and David Garman now connected, but they are 15.6 seconds back. They are going to need to make up more than 1 second a lap. This is definitely going to come down to a last lap battle. And things are going to heat up here in about 2 laps as the drivers start jockeying to get to where they want to be coming to the checkers. "11 laps to go." Kevin, you're going to have to narrow down which DW phrase, because there are quite a few. That is true. Mark is in the cat dog position now. Aaron Mason still trying to work his way forward. Now sitting in third. He keeps looking for a run on Dan Tuma. Troy Downing lurking back and forth. Thanos in fifth. Yeah, there is that. There is Boogity Boogity Boogity. And of course there's the Loose Wheel song. DJ Kenner may be losing the draft. Blake Lawrence right there with him. Do they have enough to pull back up and put DJ back into the fight? Looks like they do. DJ closing back up. A lot of the drivers said it is extremely easy to lose the draft in these cars. You do not have to be very far behind when you start losing it. The trucks, Xfinity cars, and the Old Cup cars, you could be half a second to 7/10 of a second back. In these, less than half a second, you will start to lose the draft. Everybody single file for the moment. This won't last. Okay, you're going to have to give me a hint on that one. Everybody's sitting in line with 5. Oh, yeah. Yes, that is definitely true. Next time by, things will start to heat up. And with 3 to go, that's when it gets really hot, as everybody starts moving toward the front. Mark Dantuma shoots to the bottom. He is going for the lead. He's got the push from Aaron Mason. Nelson on the high side. Troy Downing behind. Gerald Poole also pushing on the bottom. Dan Tuma and Mason move to the high side. Thanos has no help. Four laps to go. Mark Dan Tuma. DJ Kidder looking low back behind. He's got help from Gerald Poole. These two have worked together in the draft many times over the years. The Iceman is on the move. I believe so, Sketch. Kevin Gerard, the other Kevin's watching on Twitch. DJ and Gerald unable to make up any ground. Dan Tuma in the lead, Mason in second. Nelson in third. Two laps to go at Talladega. DJ looks low again. Does not have the speed to get it done. Gerald goes by on the high side. They lost a little ground on the four cars at the front. And here we go. Through the tri-oval. White flag is in the air one more time around. The lap car of Donald Durant's will come into play. Kevin Reed predicting the 86 will shoot the gap and pull it off. Dan Tuma leads the group down to the bottom. Does anybody have enough? Mason steps out. Aaron Mason to the high side. Mark Nelson up the middle. Mark gets turned. He saves it. It's a wreck at the line. Mark Nelson gets the win. Gerald Poole comes home in second. Mark Dan Tuma finishes third, and what a finish! Watch this from the blimp. Nelson shoots the gap, gets a bump, saves it there, 4 wide. When Mason comes down, he blocks the track, and Mark Nelson just scoots on through. Let's see if we can get a word with our top 3, starting with Mark Dan Tuma. Well, Mark, it was an interesting finish, but you still got a podium out of it.
Yeah, somehow, some way. I knew I was a sitting duck. I wouldn't want to go there, and definitely got exciting there at the end.
It definitely did, but you held on almost in the grass to pull off a podium.
Yeah, somehow, some way, but that's Talladega for you. Some days you're just glad that you can actually make it across the finish line.
Well, great job. Congratulations, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Gerald Thanos Poole comes home in second. Thanos, you're back up on the podium at the Super Speedway. Is old Thanos back finally?
That was pretty damn exciting. I felt strong the whole race. Felt like I could have run up front the whole race, other than the fuel mileage thing about running up front. And I was just trying to position myself there at the end. And then, those last 2 laps got a little confusing. I found a lane, and I thought I actually had a shot at the win. And then I was looking at the infield and don't know what happened.
Well, it still worked out in your favor. You came across in second place, buddy. Great job. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for all you do. Have a good evening.
And our winner, the Mark Nelson. Mark, it looked like coming through the tri-oval, your race was over, your chance of winning was over. It looked like the bump sent you right where you needed to be.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed to pull that off, but I agree. I thought I was dead because, we were fitting 3 cars into 2 car widths, and all of a sudden I felt myself go into the infield, and then I don't even know what happened after that. I'm honestly clueless, but all of a sudden everyone behind me just went sideways and cars coming out of nowhere, and I was all by myself, and I'm like, okay, that'll work.
It's interesting to note that Kevin Reed early on predicted you to win this, and then late in the race predicted you'd shoot the gap, there'd be a wreck, and you'd pull off the win. So you might want to get in touch with him to get your lottery numbers for this week.
I guess so. Like most of the time, shooting the gap isn't really me because it usually ends up in a crash. But I saw that hole, and Troy gave me like a heck of a bump. I think he gave me a 10 to 15 mile an hour boost, and I was just trying to keep my car in between the two. I was trying to make sure I stayed the meat in the sandwich and not the mayonnaise.
Well, it definitely worked out. Kevin said hi and great job. And, man, congratulations. Great win and definitely a huge points night for you.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.
The Mark Nelson pulls off the win, but folks, don't go far. We're going to be back in about 30 minutes with more great racing as SMR Gen 4 at 25 car field takes to the track in the old Gen 4 cars. Nothing better than that. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here in 30. Have a great evening.